Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on this virtual On the Move luncheon to benefit the National MS Society, sponsored by Hang Time. Thank you so much, Hang Time. My name is Abby Walton. I'm one of the evening anchors at WCTV, and I'm so happy to be here with you. I wish we could be here in person next year, though, but we're going to have a great time online. Now, 75 years ago, a movement started that really changed the world for people impacted by MS. Sylvia Lowry placed an ad in the New York Times after her brother experienced some visual and balance issues. Those responses made Sylvia realize there was a need for an organized effort to finance research into the cause, treatment, and eventual cure for MS. What started just as one woman's vision to join a national organization has really been the leader in the global charge to create a world free of MS. Today, we are celebrating 75 years of breakthroughs and available treatments for MS, none of which existed just 30 years ago. Think about that. So much has happened within those 75 years and in just in the past 30. That's incredible. Now, we have seen our challenges for the past 18 months. We all know we have with the COVID-19 pandemic. But during that time, the researchers, the fundraisers, those people have not stopped because we want to find a cure for people living with this disease. And the On the Move Luncheon has raised funds and awareness for the past 23 years. Thank you so much. Because of your donations and your help, you have helped fuel research and treatment. So thank you to all of you and our amazing sponsors. Now, if you haven't donated yet, we have several ways that you can do it. It's super easy. They've made it very easy for you. Just take a look at your screen right there. The donation page is live for you right now. And you can donate through the program to End MS Forever by texting Tallahassee OTM to 76278. I'm going to say that again, Tallahassee OTM to 76278. You can text that right now, or you can go to tallahasseeotm.givesmart.com. Again, tallahasseeotm.givesmart.com. See, in this virtual time, they've made it super easy. You can either text, you can go online to give. So easy to do that. And we are all here today because we believe in the mission of ending MS forever, finding a cure, and while we do that, creating better treatments for those living with MS. And despite this year's event not being virtual, we are not going to let the pandemic stop us from our mission of creating a world free of MS. We do miss being in person. I love seeing you guys every year, and I know Julie Montanaro does as well because she's also served as MC for that luncheon before. And despite that event being virtual, again, we will not let it stop us. And so I encourage everybody, you can chime in through the YouTube chat if you'd like to give words of encouragement, whatever you want while you're watching the videos. And if you feel so moved, let us know how you're feeling. So as we go through our program, I want you to consider the urgent need before us. The pandemic and the resulting economic impact really do have the potential to reduce funding, which then goes on to research not only for a cure and for a treatment. And that really, the pandemic could really take a chunk of it, and it could hit it by about 40%. So that means that money is not going into research. That money isn't going into better treatments and physical therapies and things like that. So that is why today is so critical, and your support is so critical, so we can keep researching, and the doctors and scientists who are amazing can keep going. Your gift helps also not only here locally in the Tallahassee area, but also the National MS Society give resources and information to people living with MS, and they can really help them live better lives. So we really do depend on your generosity, and I know we are such a generous community, and I know you will show up for us today for sure. Now, we couldn't do this without sponsors. So thank you so much to everybody. I want to tell you a little bit about some of the people who have been our great sponsors to put this on today. First, our presenting sponsor, Hang Time. Thank you. We could not have done this without your help. As you see, though, they've also offered a coupon for 15% off just by mentioning Cure MS. You see that right there on your screen. Again, thank you, Hang Time, so much. Our gold sponsors for this year: Leslie and Palmer Williams, Dixie Seal and Stamp, Bristol Myers Squibb, and Biogen. Thank you so much for being our gold sponsors this year. Our bronze sponsors: Carl and Bob Pierce, Melanie and John Knight, Capital Eurocars, and Genentech. Thank you so much for being our bronze sponsors. Our MS sponsors are Livonia and Jerry Ferrier, Gail and Bob Knight, Mr. Reuter, the law firm of Williams, Goodyear and Gwynn, Deloche and Kiker, PA, and the Florida Osteopathic Medical Institute. Thank you so much for being our MS sponsors. And our program sponsor, Andrew Jackson Insurance. Thank you so much, everybody. Again, we could not do this without your support, and we are so glad to have it. We also want to take a minute to thank the entire committee for putting this on. Ladies, you are amazing. Thank you so much for all your hard work and fundraising and putting this together. But before we continue to our program, we want to take a moment for a word from our presenting sponsor, Hang Time.
Hang Time is the retail brand of our family business that was started back in 1897 by our great uncle.
Our grandmother's uncle started it, and it's evolved over the years from our grandfather to our dad, and now my brother and I, owner-operators of the business.
My brother and myself are fourth generation, now leading the company, keeping in mind the hard work and knowledge from the previous 3 generations. Our latest product line we're excited to introduce involves our partnership with another multi-generation family business that shares the same passion, ethics, and Made in USA product line that we do.
So we've been recognized year after year for our decorating of metal, and we're excited to take that to the next step and decorate the steel product that Wall Control is providing.
Oh, again, Hang Time. Thank you so much for your sponsorship. Such a cool business. Thank you for getting involved. It is now my pleasure and honor to introduce Heidi Katz, the president of the National Multiple Sclerosis Society's North Florida chapter. And she's going to share how the society has continued to support those impacted by MS during the pandemic and beyond.
Thank you, Abby, and thank you to all of you for joining us today. It is amazing how different the world can be in just 1 year, but we are resilient and we have adapted. I'm thrilled to be here with you to tell you about the innovative and life-changing work that the National MS Society is doing. Despite the challenges this year has brought upon us, the MS movement has made great progress. The strength and unity of the MS movement is more apparent than ever. We are unified in our mission to cure MS, while empowering people affected by MS to live their very best lives. And we will keep moving forward because we still have nearly 1 million people living with MS in the United States. Thanks to the generous support of people like you, we maintain connections and even expanded them, bringing more people affected by MS into our MS Society family. Our MS Navigator service was uninterrupted. This means there is a supportive partner for each person affected by MS to figure out options to the challenges they face and carve a path forward. We were able to respond to the needs of the day. People wanted to know, what is my risk associated with COVID and how can I protect myself? So we did what we do best. We brought together the world's experts. We held weekly webinars, both for people living with MS and for healthcare professionals. We established a registry, enabling physicians to report the outcomes of people living with MS who were infected with COVID. This data was prepared to harmonize with European registries, and it became the largest source of information about MS and COVID in the world. MS activists raised their voices to help pass federal and state laws across the country to ensure access to telehealth, respite care, affordable health insurance, and to put an end to surprise billing. We were successful in gaining $1.5 billion increases in NIH research funding this year, and we secured $20 million for MS research from the Department of Defense. That's up $4 million from last year. all for MS research. All of our research programs moved forward this year, with interruption for sure, but thanks to you, we have added to the MS workforce, maintained focus on progressive MS initiatives, funded new projects, and convened thought leaders virtually to maintain momentum and keep the MS movement moving forward. We are closer than ever to understanding how to stop MS, repair that damage that has occurred, and prevent the disease from taking hold in the first place. We are truly at a pivotal moment in our history. Monumental, transformative breakthroughs are within our reach. The Society's commitment to finding a cure is unwavering, even when faced with a global pandemic. But we cannot do it alone. Passionate volunteers and dedicated supporters like you make it all possible. I must give a big shout out to a very special group of women, many of whom have been involved with this luncheon for all of its 23 years. Without the hard work of our On the Move Luncheon Committee, today's event would not be possible. We are in this together, and I know we will achieve our vision of a world free of MS. I am so proud of the work we have done and continue to do in order to make sure that no one ever again has to hear the words, "You have MS."
Oh, thank you so much, Heidi. Who is inspired and just feels motivated after listening to this? All the great things that have happened just this year. And even with a global pandemic going on, the focus is still steadfast in the mission. That is just incredible. Now it's time to hear firsthand from people living with MS.
We are a movement by and for people affected by multiple sclerosis.
Until we end this disease forever, we will do whatever it takes
to accelerate breakthroughs.
We believe that we are stronger together.
That nobody should face MS alone.
We will be by your side every step of your journey.
From day one.
We'll be your partner through the challenges.
Sharing ideas and finding solutions.
We believe
that people live better lives
when they are understood and supported.
It's hard to hear.
But you look so good.
When you feel anything but.
Or to feel like MS is the only thing people see. We will be there for your loved ones so they can be there for you.
We'll shine a light on what it means to live with MS.
Till the rest of the world understands.
We believe that everyone deserves affordable medications.
A doctor who knows MS.
And a healthcare system that puts you first.
You should never have to choose
between paying your bills
and getting the care you need.
We will make sure your voice is heard loud
and
clear.
We'll be your champion
from the halls of Congress
to City Hall.
We believe that you should be able to plan for the next 10 years.
Even the next 10 minutes.
Without MS getting in the way.
Complex problems take many solutions.
Coming together in just the right way.
We'll be there to help you piece it all together.
We'll work every day
so you can get what you want from life.
Even while living with this disease.
We believe that no one else should have to face the fear
and uncertainty
of an MS diagnosis.
And that those that have MS
should get back what they've lost.
Curing this disease
takes a global effort.
We will fund the most
promising leads
and gather the brightest minds
to find a cure
as fast as possible.
We'll be unrelenting
until the very
end.
We believe that we all have something to contribute.
Whether it's time,
money,
connections,
or sheer passion,
there is strength
in numbers.
We're calling on you to join us.
Join us.
Join us.
Find your place in this movement.
We need you.
We need you.
We need you.
Together, we will create a world free of MS.
I love the message of that. You saw a lot of individual people, but then they talk about strength and numbers and the power of that. And everyone can do something. You know, we hope that you'll donate funds today, but if you can't, you give your time, your expertise. Everybody can come together and do something in this. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Joya Mccarty, who is here to share her personal journey with MS.
Sometimes you never know the value of a moment until it becomes a memory. I believe C.S. Lewis may have said that. I found this to be a true statement And it's with this in mind that I share with you my journey with multiple sclerosis. To do so is to tell you intimate backstories of some of the darkest and brightest moments of my life. So walk with me for the next few minutes that I have been given to share my memories. Let's go to 1996, which started out to be a really good year. I was engaged to be married to the man of my dreams, or so I thought. My family, my groom, and I were making wedding plans that included everything my heart desired. And then, in the midst of the cold, snow, and ice, in Chicago, mind you, for unexplainable reasons, I began having these clumsy spells, which included tripping and falling over nothing. Just imagine how embarrassing that was to sporadically fall in front of that special someone. After all, we're supposed to fall for them, not in front of them. Then out of nowhere, I lost vision in my left eye. What is this? It certainly had nothing to do with love, and what's not on the vision board I had as the roadmap for my life. After seeing a physician, I was diagnosed as having optic neuritis. I am thankful that my doctors could restore my vision by doing a series of steroid IVs. But there is more. It was explained to me that testing was needed to find the cause of the optic neuritis and also what I called my clumsiness. So several tests later, and after many specialist visits, I received a diagnosis of multiple sclerosis. In retrospect, this was one of the darkest days of my life. Imagine being told you have a condition for which there is no known cure. It's debilitating, and for the questions I had, there were not many favorable answers. Being the rational woman that I am, I did what many women in my situation would do. I attempted to call off the wedding. My fiance, despite my best efforts, disagreed and began to do what I do best. As a science major, I consistently and methodically did my research and armed myself with all kinds of information about MS to guide my plans for the future, which really did not look the brightest. The wedding was to continue, and it was beautiful. The wedding day was unusually sunny and bright for late spring in Chicago. Following a large church service was a reception on Lake Michigan, at a castle no less, and we began our new life together, all three of us, my new husband, me, and MS, of course. I knew it was going to take much more than all of that for a bright future for me and my family, since multiple sclerosis was a factor in our life. With my physician's guidance, I knew I needed, therefore, to begin a drug therapy. Of course, the darkest clouds gathered when my husband and I found the cost of therapy. $3,000 a month is not what we had in our budget for medicine, or anything for that matter. The value of a moment. What exactly is the value of a moment? I place tremendously high value on the moment I was introduced to the National MS Society. I am eternally grateful for the kind of help I've received for needed drug therapy, but it goes much further than that. I was connected to resources, self-help groups, and of course, the beloved MS Walk. The MS Walk was held several months later on the same lake that I celebrated my wedding. I often mirror life to running a race. You need the right kind of shoes for comfort over the hurdles, and of course, find your pace for endurance. That was my first walk, but not my last. Asking my friends and family to financially support my efforts was my opportunity to share the announcement, I have MS. The first time, I believe my voice croaked. The more I shared, the easier it became. My life journey had us relocate from Chicago to Florida. At various intervals, I needed and found the MS Society, the diligent and effective advocacy so critical for those of us living with MS. I believe that each of us are trying to live our best lives regardless of our MS status. For me, the National MS Society has been a part of that effort. Counselors and supporters who have been there to help me find courage to fight back fear, faith to continue to build a brighter future, and despite MS. For all of this, I am sincerely thankful. But it goes further and deeper than that. I believe the role of humanity is to play a part in helping each other live their best life. In other words, to give back for what you have received or pass on blessings to others. The MS Society has allowed me to do just that. Through the opportunities provided, sharpening my advocacy skills, experiences to lobby for legislation, and initiatives to make our lives better, all have helped shape my dedication to those of us challenged by MS, and therefore my character. Simply put, I just try to make a difference for others. Remember those shoes I mentioned earlier? I put them on and I was ready to jump hurdles, not just for myself, but for everyone who has ever unfortunately heard and received the same diagnosis. I felt I had two choices. I could either have a pity party or I could empower myself and those around me. You guessed it, I chose the latter. The value of a moment. The value of a moment goes far beyond the immediate and well into the future. My daughter Robinette was born 21 years ago. The 9 months before her birth were some of the healthiest since my diagnosis. It never ever occurred to me that the MS Society would play such a positive role in her life. Through her camping experiences supported by the National MS Society and the influence of lifelong friends and acquaintances met through our participation in MS activities, you would be hard-pressed to find a stronger voice advocating for resource development, research, and cure of MS. She is now in her senior year at the University of Florida and plans a future in medicine, specifically neurology. This is just another part of the value of the moment of introduction to the MS Society, and that chapter is still being written. Those are her shoes and her race. My goal in sharing my story today has been to encourage you as I've been encouraged, to inspire you as I have been inspired to help others build their best life, and finally, to deliberately urge passion and generosity to help grow resources to continue to help those living with MS and for research for a cure. I say to each of you, as I say to myself, and as I say and have said to my daughter, as we tackle complex situations, we've got this. Just do it. It is quite possible that you're fortunate not to live with MS personally. However, just the fact that you are here today supporting a loved one, a friend, a coworker, a neighbor, another human being lets me know that, like me, you are aware that it will take all of us to make a difference. Your donation may be used for research to assist a person fighting with day-to-day activities. Thank you so much for listening to the value of my moment shared through my memory. Thank you for contributing to another person not hearing the diagnosis, you have multiple sclerosis. In the meantime, join me, put on your shoes, and let's jump some hurdles, and I will see you at the finish line.
Oh, thank you so much, Miss Joya, for sharing your story. We will be at that finish line with you. We are lacing up our shoes today. What I really enjoyed and got out from Joya's story was not just how much the MS Society has helped her, which it has, but also how much her daughter has gotten out of it, how much helps the family, because a diagnosis like this does have an impact on the family. And to hear that the MS Society helped her daughter find similar people going through similar situations, there's a power in that. So that's just some of the things that your donations can go for today. We've made a lot of progress in the 75 years, but we have a long way to go still, and you can help with that. You've been seeing throughout the entire show the numbers down at the bottom of your screen on ways to give. You can do that again. If you'd like to donate right now, all you need to do, super easy, get out that phone, text OTM to 76278. You see it right there on your screen right there. They make it so easy. Or you can go to TallahasseeOTM.givesmart.com. So again, two very easy ways for you to donate today. Every donation makes a difference. People often say, well, I don't have large numbers of money. That's okay. If you give just a little bit, it goes a long way. Now, I want to tell you what some of the amounts of money can do, because it's pretty cool. For every $10,000 that's raised, they can send 10 MS research fellows to the research conference, where they will network with other doctors and scientists and work towards a cure, career donated to find a cure for MS. Now, with every $2,500 raised, that funds a multi-year research project which hopes to uncover the next MS breakthrough. $2,500. That's amazing. All right. Well, we all need you at home to donate. If you haven't yet, I want to see a lot of your names. We see them scrolling on the screen. Everyone who sees their name scrolling past in advance, thank you, thank you, thank you for donating. We can't do this without you. Now let's get back to, okay, $1,000. $1,000 gives someone driving independence to someone living with MS. That's able to retrofit their car to make it more accessible. Every $500 will provide up to 6 months of in-person counseling services to someone living with MS. That, I think, is super, super important to remember, because while MS is a physical disease, it also, mental health is so important. And so $500 gives a person 6 months of in-person counseling services. That's a big deal. A $250 gift helps dedicate support from an MS navigator to address the needs of someone living with MS. That's incredibly important that we have these navigators now, whether it's MS or cancer, just to help you navigate, this very challenging kind of overwhelming process of, where do I need to go get treatment? Where do I need to do this? How do I do that? They can help through that process. $250, not a lot. And finally, a $100 gift allows a person to participate in a clinical trial for 3 days to expand the number of available MS treatments. Those clinical trials, they make a big, big difference in being able to find treatments and then hopefully a cure. $100 can do that. And again, if you can't give those amounts, any amount, $1, $2, $5, anything you can give makes such a difference. We have such a generous community here in Tallahassee, and thank you to everybody who has already given. Your donations mean more than you would ever really, really know. People living with MS, they need us now more than ever. They need us to help raise those funds, to help make those breakthroughs, to help create those treatments. And there's been a lot. And again, The pandemic, yes, it's been very challenging this year, but there's been a lot of research and new advances going on even during this global pandemic. And to tell us more about this, I have the pleasure of introducing our keynote speaker, Dr. Suma Shah. Dr. Shah is an assistant professor of neurology at Duke University School of Medicine and cares for MS patients at Duke Health and the Durham VA Hospital. In addition to her clinical practice, she holds several leadership roles, serving as regional director of the Regional MS Center of Excellence for the Durham VA, the associate program director of the Neurology Residency Program at Duke, and the director for the Clinical Fellowship in MS and Neuroimmunology. She's currently serving as the chair of the Healthcare Provider Council for the National MS Society for the Carolinas chapter of the MS Society. And I cannot wait to hear what she has to say and talk about all the great breakthroughs in research that's leading us to one day find a cure. Dr. Shah, welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited to join you all here to share a little bit about what I do and go through some of the strides that we've made over the past year and the many hats that I wear, as you've heard. Hopefully y'all can see my slides here shortly, and then we will move forward with that. So I've titled today's talk as the triple threat. We often joke in academia that to be a really, really good clinician, you want to be able to offer expertise in both clinical care and education, and also contribute to research. And MS care has been one of those things that has absolutely allowed me to do that. Next slide. There's my disclosures. I have received some research funding from those two companies listed here. Next slide. That's just a little bit of the overview of what we'll be going through over the next few minutes. Next slide. And then a little bit about me. You heard a little bit about the hats I wear here at Duke. I'd love to introduce myself to y'all as someone who grew up in upstate New York, did my undergrad at the University at Buffalo, at State University of New York, and then moved right along to a different state university in Syracuse to finish my medical training. And I've been down here at Duke ever since I started residency. Next slide. One of the questions I often get asked is why MS? And I think truly for me, as the first physician in my family, it has been about being at the right place at the right time, from learning from excellent educators and patients that I came across that really inspired me to keep showing up for this field. There was one email that I got from someone named Dr. Mark Skeen. He's our most senior MS specialist here at Duke, who sent out an email to all of us residents. This was close to a decade ago now, who said, well, we haven't had too many folks interested in MS care here. Why is that? And that's all it took for me. I responded back to that email and said, you know what? I haven't seen a whole lot more than the few admissions we get as residents. Let me learn from you. And that is where it all started for me. He helped create a fellowship, which is now what I direct here at Duke, and has allowed me to be participating in all of the things I'll go through with you in the next few slides. Next slide. I'm going to go through these slides very quickly. This is not a lecture, but I want to make sure that you all are on that same page as I am when it comes to MS care. The only thing I'll highlight about this slide here is that we are learning. We are constantly learning about how to care for MS. And part of that is understanding what causes it. The first bullet here mentions that MS is not just a chronic inflammatory condition, but also neurodegenerative. That has been something that's been groundbreaking for how we approach care for MS. It's not just the pills and the pictures and the injections that we used to give. It's how do we support someone when they are facing something that is changing in front of our eyes. And that neurodegeneration, that's a huge focus for research these days, oftentimes with people much smarter than me. But for what it's worth, I do think it's really, really important that we've at least come across that understanding so that we can focus our research interests in the right place. Next slide. This is a slide I created from looking at all of the publications in PubMed, our online national database of the literature in multiple sclerosis. And I think it's a great visual representation of just how much things have changed. You can see back in the early 80s when that first ad went out by Sylvia Lowry in the 60s, we only had a couple hundred publications with the title multiple sclerosis. And if you look in the last 5 years even, it's 5,000 publications a year. That demands a lot, especially of us in clinical care and research of MS. Next slide. These are some more facts that I think you all are probably familiar with, but I think the other thing I'd like to highlight about this slide is that the incidence of MS, not only is it more prevalent in women, it is increasing overall. I don't know if that's because we're getting better at making sure we identify it sooner, or that it truly is occurring more. But there are several things you can see on that slide that contribute to the diagnosis of MS. Next slide. These next 3 slides will kind of flip right along, but what they showcase are the different types of MS, what we understand from studies as recently as 2014. On the right side of each of these slides, you'll see that there is a graph put out for how we understand MS. This is how we identify it as clinicians when it comes to the relapses, what folks experience. As you heard from Joya Mccarty, some of the patient experiences that go into making decisions and making that diagnosis occur from a clinical care standpoint. Next slide. You'll see the graph is a little bit different for secondary progressive MS on that right side. And next slide. For primary progressive MS, different yet. And the big takeaway here is not to give you a lecture on some of the understandings of how MS is diagnosed, but really to understand that we as clinicians are focusing on energies to help identify and diagnose sooner so that we can bring people to the right treatment and the right support resources earlier. Next slide. This is the slide that I really want to make sure that we're all on the same page with. You've heard already today just how far we've come when it comes to MS care over the last 75 years that the National MS Society has been in existence. This repertoire of medications really only started in the early 90s, and in the last 5 to 10 years, we've had an exponential increase in treatments that are available for diagnosing and treating MS. There are still some opportunities here, though. You can see that second bullet on the left, where we're a little slower at developing treatments for progressive forms of MS. But that doesn't mean that they're any less worthy of being treated. And I think in the next decade, my hopes are that some of our efforts, some of our resources are really put into caring for patients with the types of MS that may not have quite as many therapies open to them. Next slide. But this is what this means. When we have so many therapies, so many changes in understanding, it's so important to stay up to date in order to provide the best quality care to our patients. And that's what I'd really like to speak to you all today, is how do we show up in the MS care realm as a provider who cares for patients with MS and make sure we're really offering the best that there is to offer. Next slide. So I'll start by chatting a little bit about how we promote excellence in clinical care. And over the next few minutes, we'll really go through the various facets of caring for patients with MS and how that shows up in many of the things I've participated in. Next slide. First, I'll go back to some of those titles that you all heard about me. One of the things I'm currently doing is directing the fellowship, the clinical fellowship in the care of patients with multiple sclerosis. As part of that role, many of us across the nation who are in similar roles recognized that we need to be able to feel confidently that we are training people who have all the tools at their disposal to care for patients with MS the best that they can. And so part of what I did over the last 2 years is participate in a committee. And you may notice some names here that are both from the National MS Society as well as clinical leaders in MS care and research. With this group that we got together, we put together a consensus curriculum so that when we all graduate our fellows who have been trained in the care of MS, we know that they've been exposed to the right things, the right learnings, the right research trials, and they can go out and practice as proficiently as possible as MS specialists. Next slide. What you already heard about, though, to help with that clinical care is the MS Navigator program. As a clinician, I'm just going to highlight this once more to say how incredibly helpful it is. I just received a message yesterday from a patient of mine who's a nurse herself, who I referred on Monday to say she was already hooked up with an MS Navigator after I placed that referral for her on Monday. This was 2 days later. And there are already action items that they are working on to help improve her quality of life in managing her MS. She's someone who wants to stay in the workforce. She's a healthcare worker who's been working overtime during this pandemic. And it was incredible to hear from her that even with the things that she knows of in our field, there was still yet more to learn and more to benefit from. And it's the navigators that I really thank for their tireless help for that. Next slide. Not only is it important to make sure that we are clinically proficient and making sure that our patients are hooked up with all of the resources that they can have after a diagnosis of MS, I think it's really incredibly important to ensure that the right parties who may be interested in caring for MS are getting that exposure early on. Next slide. Part of how we've done that are these two programs that I have partnered with the National MS Society in implementing locally here. The first is the National MS Society Student Outreach Event. Next slide. This is an event that started here locally in 2017. And I've included here what a template of the itinerary looks like for this event. The idea is that our group, our local National MS Healthcare Provider Council, comes together and identifies a person who would be willing to share their experience with MS and puts together an evening, you can see here, from 5:30 to about 7 p.m., where learners of all kinds can come together and learn about the care of patients with MS. What this looks like are learners in physical therapy, occupational therapy, pharmacy students, clinical pharmacists, medical students, physician assistants, many, many disciplines that come together for this one event who are interested in learning more about the care of MS. It has been such a success that we've, over the last couple of years, branched out to 2 different sessions, one in North Carolina and one in South Carolina, with similarly interested parties. And the hopes here are to expose folks to MS care early, to have folks interested that are given opportunities to really benefit from learning from others, and to encourage within the same discipline and interdisciplinary colloquia so that people can learn from each other. As we are also learning in the last decade, MS care is not in a silo, and it is not just a physician or a provider who takes care of this. You need a team, and to help build that team, I think events like this go a really long way. Next slide. Finally, one of the real joys in being part of the National MS Society and working with our student learners is this National MS Society Mentorship Program. This has been in place for several years. We used to actually offer this in person for a few years before, of course, last year we had to go virtual. And that had required quite a lot of flexibility on the parts of our schedulers and the parts of our educators. But the idea here is very similar to the mentorship outreach program, which is to allow for medical students to identify an interest in MS early. And what I'll show over the next few slides, we'll go to the next slide, is quotes from students who've gone through that program. Next slide. For the next couple slides here, you can see what this mentorship forum does is provide dedicated lecturers from MS clinicians, researchers, and folks who are invested in the care of MS, like representatives from the National MS Society, so that students are exposed to just what that infrastructure is to help them care for patients with MS. Next slide. You can see that there are lectures not only on the diagnosis of MS and the treatments available, but symptom management. And the backgrounds of the folks giving these lectures are varied, from MDs to doctors of physical therapy to folks who have been living with MS. Next slide. And what's extremely rewarding as someone who participates in this program are these reflection papers that come through at the end of the sessions. This is usually a 2-week virtual mentorship program. I say usually, we've been doing it for 2 years now. But this is someone who I worked with this past summer. And again, Dr. Skeen comes up. He's really inspired quite a few folks around here to go into MS care. But you can see here, he wrote that it only took halfway through that first conversation for this student to feel completely solidified in his choice to not only be part of the MS mentorship program, but also to enter this field as a physician. How incredible is that? Next slide. Similarly, his companion in that cohort reflected that the MS mentorship program connected her with world-class MS researchers and practitioners across the nation in the setting of those lectures, but also made time to open to the floor to those living with MS. She was particularly appreciative of her ability to jump in on video visits with patients living with MS and learn from what they're experiencing, hear about what they've benefited from. And both of these experiences really helped us know as educators that we're still reaching out to folks who may continue to propagate what we've set in motion as far as our interests in MS care. Next slide. Finally, of course, that triple threat is rounded out by being involved in research. Next slide. What I'd really like to highlight is something called Project Echo. All of us here who are MS clinicians and MS researchers at Duke have our varied interests. But Project Echo, I think, really showcases how well we collaborate, not only together, but outside of Duke. Echo MS allows for this network to be created where there are hubs and spokes of learners. Duke here serves as one of 3, now 4 hubs this year, where we have folks who are not only specifically interested in MS care and our clinician researchers, but also have access to neuroradiologists, MS boarded and trained doctors of physical therapy, and folks who are part of our interdisciplinary team who can help educate others who may not have access to such a robust team. Next slide. What that allowed us to do in the last year, and I've got a picture of a publication, but what that publication shows is that there was a rapid transfer of knowledge for multiple sclerosis clinical care during the COVID-19 Echo MS sessions. I'll tell you more. The Echo MS was a project that was set in motion to go live last September 2020. And of course, with all of the infrastructure we had in place and the pandemic hitting, we thought this would be a wonderful opportunity to really tap into these spoke and hub networks we had created as researchers and allow for people to share their experiences in caring for patients with MS who have or have not been exposed to COVID-19. We were all learning COVID-19 back last spring when we all were trying to figure out what the best way was to care for patients with MS, whether changes needed to be made about their disease-modifying therapies. And having an infrastructure that was already laid really helped us tap into some of those resources. So over the course of 4 weeks, we got together for an hour every Tuesday and shared patient stories and shared what we had been learning when it came from international data, local data, and patient stories that would help us better influence our decisions on the unknown. We published this because we really felt that it was profoundly beneficial to have this kind of a network. And of course, in September 2020, we got the real non-COVID Project Echo off the road. And I really have benefited from it, both from being part of the hub, but also from learning from my colleagues in multiple different specialties across the nation on how they approach patient care, any questions they have. And it's really become a forum where we learn from each other and get to know each other. And all of these things were really made possible by funding from the National MS Society to allow this network to become created. I'll leave off there. Next slide. To give you my short takeaway, which is we really want to be in these MS centers of excellence, the triple threat. We want to be able to provide the best patient care, to inspire the next generation of MS specialists, and to continue participating in research so that we can continue working towards that ultimate goal. I'll leave you all there with some of my experiences. It's been a pleasure to be participant in all of these, many of which were made possible by the National MS Society. Thank you for your time.
Dr. Shaw, yay! Thank you so much for sharing this great information. First off, the news nerd in me just is freaking out. I'm like, that is so cool. All that information is so cool. And I just think it speaks to the passion that these researchers, clinicians, scientists, healthcare workers have, that even during a pandemic, they still are saying, nope, we're going to find ways that we can continue to talk to each other and research and learn about, the patient experience and how we can make that better and how we may need to tweak it during this COVID era. And it's fascinating, and it really does make you hopeful that this next generation coming up. I love how you're talking to scientists and the different kids coming in and saying, hey, why don't you come over to MS research? Hey, just bringing more people into the fold. That's only going to help everyone not only find better treatments, but then that cure, which will come someday. Thanks to you, Dr. Shaw, and of course, all the people that are donating to the National MS Society to be able to provide funds for people like Dr. Shaw and Duke University and the many other research institutions for them to do such important work. And now I'd like to bring with me Heidi Katz with the Florida chapter of the National MS Society. Hey, Miss Heidi, how's it going? You're seeing all this. It's incredible, isn't it?
I don't know about you, but I'm on fire over here. I cannot wait to share with everybody where we are. Oh, I think it's hitting the screen now. We have raised an unprecedented amount of money for this event. My heart is exploding. I thank you all for this.
Yay!
I don't even know where to begin. I want to thank all of our incredible sponsors and all the donors for your generosity and support. A big thank you to Abby and Joya and Dr. Shaw, that fantastic presentation, for all of you for being here today and supporting this luncheon and making it so exceptional.
I think we want to, let me just say, we need to say it out loud. We have raised so far $51,625 just for this luncheon alone, coming in. That's what we have raised. But Heidi, is there still time? Can people still give money?
Yes, anytime. The website will remain up. You're able to donate through there in the ways that Abby has shared. Any way that you're comfortable. The platform remains open, and we still see donations coming in. This is where we are right now, but from what I hear, it's still happening. So yes, by all means, there is no deadline on this whatsoever. So if you feel inspired, if you walk away understanding the importance of every dollar, the work that we've shared with you, where we're going, where we've come from Dr. Shaw, understanding how big the strides are, hearing from Joya a personal journey, and you feel inspired to support this, by all means, every dollar counts. Make a donation. We appreciate it so very greatly.
And you see all the people who've donated scrolling on the screen right now. Thank you so much to everybody for donating. And again, we just want to let you know, as Heidi was saying again, you can still donate. There's still time. You see it there. They've made it super easy right at the bottom of your screen. Remember, you can text Tallahassee OTM to 76278, or you can go to Tallahassee OTM GiveSmart.com. And of course, we want to thank Hang Time, our incredible sponsor this year. Heidi, before we wrap up, is there anything else that you'd like to add?
Well, as we think about all that we've accomplished in the last several decades, I look forward to all we will accomplish next. Our progress is accelerating, and we are on the precipice of breakthroughs we've been working on since this movement began 75 years ago. Breakthroughs that will go down in history as the ones that helped end MS forever. So thank you all for the generous donations we've received today and leading up to the luncheon. We are so grateful. You've heard the incredible news. We've raised $51,625. That includes the donations from our fantastic sponsors. Abby has shared with you, you can continue to donate by texting to Tallahassee OTM at 76278 or go to tallahasseeotm.givesmart.com if you'd like to do an online donation. And remember, every dollar makes a difference. Remember, you're making an investment that could go toward funding the next big scientific breakthrough. Funding from the National MS Society led to the discovery of every effective treatment for MS, and you can help fund the next treatment. You can help fund the vital programs and services those living with MS need in order to live their very best lives. The next chapter in our story could be the last chapter for MS. We can be part of the movement that ends this disease and changes the life of millions of people. Together, we will break through. So thank you and stay safe.
Hangtime is the retail brand of our family business that was started back in 1897 by our great uncle.
Our grandmother's uncle started it, and it's evolved over the years from our grandfather to our dad, and now my brother and I, owner-operators of the business.
My brother and myself are fourth generation, now leading the company, keeping in mind the hard work and knowledge from the previous 3 generations. Our latest product line we're excited to introduce involves our partnership with another multi-generation family business that shares the same passion, ethics, and Made in USA product line that we do.
So we've been recognized year after year for our decorating of metal, and we're excited to take that to the next step and decorate the steel product that Wall Control is providing.